going to ask for somebody to nominate the chair.
I'm Councillor Alistair Kelly, and I would like to nominate Councillor Williams for chair this morning.
And seconder?
I'm Councillor Farr, and I'm happy to second that. Thank you.
Right, so we've all introduced ourselves now. Can I ask, please, for housekeeping? Thank you.
Please note that this meeting is being recorded by the Council for live broadcast and will be published on the Council website for a minimum of 6 months. The meeting may also be recorded or live streamed for live or subsequent broadcast by members of the public, although ultimate discretion in this matter lies with the Chair in case of disruption. For those in the room, please note that if the fire alarm sounds, please exit the building by way of the nearest available signed fire exit route and make your way to the assembly point at the War Memorial in the gardens opposite the front of this building in Bourne Avenue. Finally, please can we ensure noise is kept to a minimum and mobile phones and other devices are turned off or switched to silent for the duration of the meeting. For those in the room, this includes turning off microphones and turning down the volume completely on your laptops. Can I also just say I have got the windows open, but if anyone is struggling to hear, I will close them. So please just let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask now, have we any apologies?
Apologies for absence this morning are Councillor Matthews and Sidaway, and can I thank Councillor Williams and Councillor Farr for stepping up from reserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask the subcommittee, have you any declarations of interest? I don't.
I do not have any declarations. Thank you, Chair.
I don't have any either. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Protocol for public speaking at hearings included with the agenda sheets for noting. Item 5 on the agenda is application for Hengstbury Post Office, 106 Broadway, Southbourne, Bournemouth BH6 4EH. Can I ask the licensing officer to present her case? But I need to. Yeah, of course. Because I've gone off of.
I was just going to say if we can go back and to the top. If you pass that to me, Councillor. Oh.
Sorry about this. One of the pitfalls have been thrown in at the last second.
Before we get to there.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you. Sorry,
so before we get to the licensing officer, can I run through the procedures and check that all persons that have given notice of their intentions to speak have been identified, and any person who wishes to withdraw representation not to speak has been identified. I now explain the procedure and order of speaking the hearing as follows. The licensing officer will present a report. There then will be questions of the licensing officer by all parties, but members of the subcommittee go first. The applicant will make their application, and questions of the applicant by all parties, members of the subcommittee go first. Objectors will then make their representations, and questions of the person objecting by all parties, members of the subcommittee, to go first. All parties will then be given the opportunity to sum up, with the party who spoke last to go first. The hearing will then conclude. The subcommittee will deliberate in private with the legal advisor and the clerk present. Notifications of the subcommittee's decision will be given within a period of 5 working days, beginning with the day or the last day on which the hearing was held. The notification of decision will include information about the right of appeal as appropriate. I'll now ask all parties to confirm agreement on the proposed procedure and make representations. Starting with the applicants. Do you agree? Thank you. Councillor Novo, do you agree? Thank you. Faith Gokology, yeah. Sarah Rogers, Yes, thank you. And Mrs. McNamara.
Thank you, Chair. Yes.
Can I remind all parties speaking not to repeat the information which has already been given in writing, but to expand on their written representations. All questions are to be asked through the chair, and there'll be no cross-examination of parties. Now ask the licensing officer to make her case. Thank you. And
Thank you.
present a report.
Thank you. An application has been made to permit off sales of alcohol from 6 a.m. until 11 p.m. each day of the week. This is an established post office and general store, and as part of a refit, wish to be able to provide alcohol as part of the products available. 45 representations were received on the grounds that to grant the application would undermine all 4 licensing objectives. In addition, a petition containing 132 signatures was also received against the grant of the application. Along the parade of shops at the Broadway, there is one current off licence, Hengersbury Local, which is licensed for off sales between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. each day of the week. No issues of antisocial behaviour have been identified within the area, and no representations were received from any of the responsible authorities in respect of this application. Should this application be granted and the applicant fails to operate in accordance with the licence and any conditions attached to it, they will be aware that any of the responsible authorities or any other person may request a review of the licence at any time. Thank you.
Questions of the licensing.
Okay. Are there any questions of the licensing officer at this point?
I have one, Chair. You mentioned there is a local off licence which operates between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. on that parade of shops. Are there any other nearby off licences? I believe one of the representations mentioned Tesco as being nearby and also serving alcohol. And if there are other nearby premises, what their opening hours, if we know them.
I just looked at the parade of shops. So Tesco is usually 11 o'clock.
Thank you.
No questions at this stage. Thank you.
None from me. Have the applicants? Yes.
Thank you. I think I wanted to.
Can you put your microphone on?
Just wanted to touch on the same thing, because many objections they mention about the other store nearby. So I mean Tesco, they're in a similar area, the Tesco and Co-op as well. So are you have the time available or you don't have it available?
I can find the time.
Yeah, I think that will be useful. And also just there's a licensed premises just right next door, cafe.
Yeah.
We know that it's got license up to 11 p.m., but just wanted to reconfirm that from you as well.
Is that for off sale? Sorry, is that for off sales?
That's on sale, Chair, but it's good to know since it's a licensed premises.
Okay, it's not really relevant, but thank you. Any more questions for the
No, thank you, Chair.
licensing officer? Right. Would you like to now make your case for the applicant?
Thank you, Chair. And so firstly, I wanted to introduce the applicant. The applicant knows this area, also his home address may be away, but his whole time he's been working in the area, and he had licensed premises, not close by, but far away as well. So he knows this area well. And that's one of the reasons he had acquired this premises to invest. Not only he is a retailer, he is also investor as well into retail premises. So he's coming in and investing in this particular premises is a great opportunity for the local area and the local economy as well, just to say that, Chair. And Chair, also, I think it's important, I think part of the licensing policies as well, even when we put the application, we have refer to the local council licensing policy, as well as the guidance of section 182 as well. Chair, on the guidance as well, you will see one of the things you will consider the location of the premises. When you actually consider the location of this particular premises, Chair, it is the residential area, but the premises is situated within the parade of shops, and the next door is unlicensed premises up to 11 p.m. a cafe, and also there are other supermarkets nearby, not far, situated in a similar residential settings. Like Tesco, as far as we know, they got license between 6 and 11 p.m. I'm sure the officer will confirm that. And also the Co-op got license as well from 6 a.m. to things look like 10 p.m., but I think they officer confirmed that, Chair. Chair, also the store is being refitted, renovated, and it's going to be a new store. But the store is going to be opening 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. So the opening hours. But although we are not looking at the opening hours today, we might be consider that. But on the other hand, we are looking at the licensing hours of this particular premises. Now, under the guidance, Chair, and supermarkets should be allowed to have the licensing hours and the opening hours similar unless there is a concerns. And you can see the officer mentions there's no antisocial behavior is reported in that area. And none of the responsible authorities put any representation or there are no concerns raised. But again, coming back to this particular premise, Chair, I think although the post office is going to continue with the upgraded service, so which is the great opportunity for the local community, being a convenience store locally. And not only the post office, the store will have some other services as well, things like a parcel services nowadays is becomes like an important part of the community service. People are able to go and pick up their parcels the time they wanted. But now here we put a licensing application to sell alcohol during the opening hours of the premises. So the question of whether it's going to have any impact on the 4 licensing objectives of prevention of crime and disorder, public safety and prevention of public nuisance and protection of children from harm. Chair, I think we've been reading the many objections, about 45 representations received from the public. I think most of them mention about whether there's a need for another premises to sell alcohol. I think, Chair, as you know, the need is not part of the licensing, but on the other hand, Chair, so the question here is whether the premises can sell alcohol while it is opening hours. That's what we are looking at. I think the people are saying the hours are excessive, but we don't think it's an excessive considering the local area where other supermarkets has been opening until 11 p.m. and having a license until 11 p.m. Now we can't just look at the next door, which every businesses is need to be looked at its own merits. So when they were applying, when they got the license, it was looked at in their own merit. They got license up to 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. But the thing is, this particular store will be opening early because they have a newspaper deliveries as well. So they will be opening until 5 a.m. but 6 a.m. is the opening for the public. So there is the store opening early, which is really great, and it has to open early because of the newspaper deliveries and things like that. They still have got a lot of families, they deliver and newspapers. Now, I wanted to come back to the concerns raised by the local people. Obviously, there are concerns about the litter because the premises will manage the litter. Outside they will keep it clean, and it's important they will keep it clean. And then if they're not keep it clean, obviously the local residents are very close community. I'm sure they will do something about that. And they were talking about increased noise here. I don't know whether the word increase is the correct word to say, but the noise, what would be the noise? I mean, it's not a bar, because there is an unlicensed premises there as well. They could play music until 11 if they wanted. There's not need to be licensed. But what we are looking at here, what kind of noise people coming in and going out, when they are walking out, they might make a noise. Chair, I think we have provided some conditions on the license, Chair, on the applications in terms of managing the public nuisance. But what also we would like to provide another conditions to put a sign on the front door to say to the customers to leave the premises quietly. Like I think I'm sure you could get the right wording for it. I can give it to you. So customers to consider residences and leave the premises quietly, and additional conditions on that. And then we also said in terms of delivery coming in, it will be managed, and the public nuisance can be managed for sure. At the distance between the houses and the store is quite a far distance as well. There is not close by residences there. So thus we can talk about. And then they were concerned about loitering. That also can be managed, but nothing been evidenced, but it's the concerns they raised. And they were concerned about the word increase antisocial behavior, but the officer itself mentioned there's no antisocial behavior reported, so it can't be an increase. But if anything that happens there, in terms of promoting the licensing objectives of prevention of crime and disorder, we have number of conditions to promote that, Chair. But Chair, also on the guidance, you will see the main source of crime and disorder. The police are the prime source for issues concerning the prevention of crime and disorder, including the antisocial behavior. So we have no objections from the police, Chair. So the other concerns they raised, I think most of them they said it's going to change the character of the area, the locations. We wouldn't think so, because this is the parade of supermarket. It's not going to be changed, because you can see in the area got other premises, other supermarkets selling alcohol, even the next door selling alcohol. So this particular premises nothing is changing. It's the commercial premises. It got a planning permissions. So anything to do with the character will be more like a part of the planning application. But on the other hand, we providing alcohol part of the products for existing customers coming in. We don't think that will massively change any of the character of the premises business. I think people are concerned about the underage sales, Chair. I think we have put a number of conditions in terms of promoting the licensing objective of protection of children from harm. I think some of them mentioned about the proxy sales and reading the licensing policy as well. The proxy sales is something, but the proxy sales is written on the licensing law, so it is an offense. It's similar to selling to under 18. It's an offense to sell proxy sales. So if there are any complaints, that action will be taken against the premises. But again, they have very much experience around that as well. And then, people keep saying about it's going to be high risk and inappropriate behavior from the customers. I mean, these are the concerns raised, Chair, as opposed to something evidence here. So considering all of those, Chair, I think the application is made responsibly, and the opening hours is being considered responsibly as well in terms of the local area. So we would like the committee to really consider that as it's applied. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Could I, before I come to my colleagues, ask the applicant and to confirm he knows the licensing objectives and is confident that you can meet them?
I'd like to state the licensing objectives and the licensing objective and confidence.
Yes, we are in the region for more than 25 years, and all these 25 years I work in the off license and part of the post office and everything. So I'm very familiar with the licensing objectives, and I got years of experience in that field.
Do you want to say that? What are the licensing objectives?
Public safety, prevention of children from harm, prevention of antisocial behavior.
I know you can't remember word by word, but
All right, thank you. Ian.
Thank you.
And I have one further question. I'm just not disturbed, but considering the licensing hours, the 6 a.m. start seems for that area, and I know the area well, to be quite early. I think the sort of customer I would expect to go to a convenience store wouldn't necessarily be going in at 6 o'clock in the morning to buy alcohol with their newspaper. Is there a particular reason it's a 6 a.m. start and 11 p.m. finish? Whereas every other convenience stores are 8 until 8.
So that's a fair question, Chair. You know, who is going to buy alcohol 6 a.m. in the morning? So obviously people don't buy alcohol 6 a.m. in the morning. But people normally started buy mostly in the afternoon or in the evening. That's when people buy alcohol. But then again, the question here we are looking at whether the store can have the license while it is open, you know, whether there would be any concerns. So the early morning, because this is the residential area, it's not like in the high street or anything like that. So the people shopping there are local people. You know, there's no need for anyone else far away coming to this particular premises because there are other premises there. Now people, so now the morning hours is there, but it doesn't mean that, you know, people are going to buy alcohol. But we feel that it's not going to create any issues having the license from 6 a.m. You know, because there are no street ringers or anyone else is buying alcohol there. So that's what we say.
If we were minded to condition 8 till 8, how would you feel about that?
We will consider that, Chair. I think if that is something you are too concerned about it. But on the other hand, we don't see any reasons. I know you have more local knowledge. You know the area well, and you know you are being like that. But on the other hand, we don't think, because I think the Tesco have a license from 6 a.m. as well. If they wanted to, people want to make a trouble, you know, they would be buying from there, made a trouble there. So that's why we prefer to have licensing, and it's easier to, you know, advertise and everything else. And we don't see any really concerns around that as well, Chair. I think we'll leave it to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My colleagues, are you questions?
Thank you, Chair. So, would the owner also be the designated premises supervisor for this store? Would other members of staff serving alcohol be required to hold personal licenses?
Thank you for that question. I think so. What we have done for in terms of promoting the licensing objectives, the staff training, we provided a comprehensive staff training instead of staff holding the personal license, but the designated premises supervisor provide like comprehensive training. And then if you look at page number 22, we have a really comprehensive training on the staffs. You know, all will be trained on their duties, and training will be recorded, and then it will be kept for the authorized officers, council officers. It will be recorded as well. They have at least every 6 month refresher training, and that will be recorded as well. And all the other things like refusal register and things like that. But considering all these conditions are kind of implemented, it will promote the licensing objectives. And also, you got license and you have, yeah, 2 people got the personal license as well, the premises. So,
Councillor Farr, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So I've read through everything here, and you know everything looks good. I just had one question, which was how would you prevent proxy sales to, you know, for those buying alcohol on behalf of those underage? Thank you.
yeah. Proxy sales, do you want to answer that, or yeah,
Yeah.
I can. Proxy, how do you prevent proxy?
We will make sure that, you know, the outside of the the inside, the premises,
windows.
the windows and everything will be clear to see and see through outside. And the second thing that we will put the CCTV so we can watch from inside that anybody trying to buy a proxy sales. So we can watch and we can monitor it.
Yeah, and also there's so many other ways, right? Yeah, there's so many other ways. Like sometimes you refuse someone and they
Yes.
come for the same product, and if group of youngsters coming, you ask ID from all three of them.
Definitely, yeah.
I think sometime on the seaside businesses, youngsters visit during the during the holiday times. So normally they come together as a group, and everybody will be so provide ID in order to buy alcohol.
Councillor Kelly.
Thanks, Chair. Will you be operating Challenge 25 on the premises?
Thank
Okay.
you. Any more questions? No. Oh, yes, legal officer's question.
Thank you. Just one quick question. A lot of the representations take issue with the late evening opening. They make reference to the other shop on the parade only having a licence till 8. I just wanted to know what your comments were in relation to those representations.
Yeah. Well, I mean, our comments is also in the local area. The store opening until 11 p.m. is not only this one opening. There are other supermarkets opening until 11 p.m. as well in a similar settings. And also, this particular parade is also, there's a distance between the local residents as well. But this particular premises want to be convenient, provide those services they provide, things like parcel services, and the post office services also will be extended. So it will definitely provide quite a convenient for lots of people in the area. The local residents, to have that convenient. So the store planning to open until 11 p.m. So the question is, so whether, for example, say 10 example, right? So between 10 and 11, somebody buying an alcohol, would they going to cause any issues? But we don't think that's going to happen, because while, somebody coming at 10:30 to buy some other product, buying a bottle of wine, so we wanted to make that available as well. So that's the thing behind it. Thank you.
Mrs. Rogers, do you have any questions?
No, but I've got an update of the licensing hours you requested.
Oh, thank you.
So the Tesco is 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. The on license nearby Elmo's is 11 a.m. until 11 p.m. And the co-op, I'm assuming that's the one on Seabourn Road. Couldn't find a closer one. That's 7 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Quite a distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 6-minute drive.
Thank you. No questions. So, objectors, do you have any questions for the applicant? No. Okay, yes.
Sorry, this is more just a question about Elmo's Cafe next door. Is that an on license only, no off sales?
Yes, please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. And my final question, just on those other licensed premises, where is the Tesco Express located?
On Tupton Road.
Okay, distance.
How far was that by car? That was a good reference you gave me last time.
Probably about 3 minutes.
Tupton Parade. Okay. Right. I can accept that. Yeah, that's fine.
Objectors? You,
Thank you very much. I'm Councillor Bernadette Nanovo, and this is Councillor Judy Richardson. I will speak only because we would be duplicating what we were going to say. And so this area is entirely residential with no existing late night retail. Extending off-license sales from 6 a.m. until midnight would fundamentally change the character of the neighbourhood. And we talked about Tesco's. Tesco in Tuckton is at least 15 to 20 minutes walk away, and so is the Co-op in Bellevue Road. They're quite a long way away from this parade of shops. Late night alcohols off-license sales are likely to lead to customers congregating outside the premises, causing noise disturbance and littering, particularly after 9 p.m. and when residents expect quiet. There have already been incidents of noise disturbance in ASB at Hengistbury Head, closer to the beach, and extending licensing hours would likely exacerbate this by extending the area of disturbance from Hengistbury Head along the Broadway. Evidence from similar settings suggests that extended licensing hours can increase footfall at night, and non-residents is the concern that it's bringing more people to the area and creating more disturbance, and may attract individuals who are homeless or who have alcohol-related support needs. This can place additional pressure on local services and the surrounding community. Opening alcohol sales from 6 a.m. raises concerns about street drinking and associated antisocial behaviour during early morning hours, when the area is quiet otherwise and children are going to school at nearby St. Catherine's. That's all I have to say on the subject. Thank you very much.
thank you, Councillor. Subcommittee, do you have any questions at this stage?
Thank you for your representation, Councillor. I'm interested in the examples of existing noise and antisocial behaviour on Hengistbury Head. Do you have any further information? I would also note that we haven't received a representation from Dorset Police as an authority.
What I'm talking about is mostly noise disturbance with cars and motorbikes, and overnight camping down at Hengistbury Head, and associated litter and debris and etc. Maybe these things don't get reported to the police, but those because we're part of the local Hengistbury Head Residents Association, we hear about these things, and also we have regular litter pickers who pick up all this debris from the head in the mornings.
Thank you.
Councillor Farr, do you have any questions?
No, I think Councillor Keddy's covered what I was going to mention. Thank you.
Yeah. There's another convenience store locally that's open from 8 till 8.
The licence is 8 to 8.
Well, the licence is at least 8 till 8. We're not sure about the opening hours. Surely, has there not been an issue with that?
I don't, no one has ever said to us that there's been an issue with that. So I think mostly it's the late, early morning and late opening that's of concern to residents.
Thank you.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes, of course.
So, do you know the opening hours for the other shop? Although that we've got the licensing hours, but just out of interest, what the opening hours are?
I don't, I've only been down there during the day, but I believe the owner of that shop is here, so we'll be
Oh, right.
speaking
Thank
next,
you.
so you can ask.
Thank you.
Perhaps you can confirm 8 till 8.
The opening hours mirror the licensing hours, do they?
Sorry.
The opening hours are the licensing hours, so 8 till 8.
Thank you. Objectors, sorry, applicant, would you like to, have you any questions for the objectors? No?
The shop owner want to speak.
Yes, would you like to speak as well? Sorry.
Firstly, thank you for having us here today and hearing out the application. I've previously submitted quite a detailed and thought through representation in this regard. So I hope that everyone would read through that to kind of understand the deeper issues that is relevant here. But what I want to say today is that my name is Fatih Gokoglu, and I, with my business partner Onur Yikit, own the business 2 doors away from the current post office on Broadway. We've traded here for many years and know both the business and the local community extremely well. I'd like to make it clear that my objection is not personal, and I wish the applicant every success with the business and sincerely hope the post office continues to serve our community for years to come. My concern is whether granting this alcohol license is genuinely necessary and whether the application adequately promotes the licensing objectives that this committee is required to consider. I think the application gave a just about satisfactory response in respect of the 4 main licensing objectives, and it seems that if they don't get from 6 to 11, 8 till 8 is not sufficient for them. That's the message that I got. I appreciate that your role today is not to consider planning issues or private matters, private property matters. However, I believe it is important to understand the wider context in which this application sits. Back in the 60s, Broadway was created as a neighbourhood shopping point to provide essential local services to residents and visitors. Over many decades, it has retained a careful balance of business serving the local community. So when they were built, there was 10 units there, and I think out of the 10, 3 have been converted into domestic. So there are actually domestic properties within the immediate vicinity. And earlier it was mentioned that, you know, it's far away from houses, but it's only the Broadway that's separating the shops across the road. There's houses which are separated by an access road. There's social housing to the left. So it's actually bang in the middle of residential properties, and it's en route to Hengistbury Head, which is the last parade of shops before there. So a lot of people stop off, stock up, or if they want somewhere to relax, get together, gather, they go to Hengistbury Head. And if there is an availability of shop till that time, then people are going to stop there, grab their drinks and go off to do whatever they may do. So historically, there are restrictive covenants on this parade of shops, and I appreciate that we're here today to discuss, you know, whether the objectives are undermined or not. But I think it's very important in context here that there are restrictive covenants on that parade of shops, which has been put in place to discourage unnecessary duplication of certain uses and preserve that balance that was envisaged when that area was being built. I appreciate that these covenants are not matters for committee to enforce, but they demonstrate something important. Broadways has never simply been viewed as a collection of commercial premises. It has always been regarded as a neighbourhood centre serving local residents. And I think that character matters. People walk here with their children, elderly residents rely on the shops, visitors to Hengistbury Head stop here. The post office sits at the heart of this community. Communities are rarely changed by one dramatic decision. They're changed gradually, one decision at a time. Each individual decision may appear relatively small, but collectively these decisions shape the character of an area for decades to come. That is why I believe this application deserves particular careful consideration. One of my principal concerns is that there is no convincing evidence that selling alcohol is necessary for this business to remain viable. Throughout the consultation, many residents have told me that they believe that unless this license was granted, the post office itself might close on the previous ownership. Several people declined to sign the petition or submit objections because they feared losing an essential community facility, and this was more so the case with elderly residents who rely on the post offices, and they were very anxious that they might have to go elsewhere because if they don't get this license, they might shut up and move away, or there won't be a post office there anymore. Whether it was intended or not, that has influenced public opinion, and I interact with dozens of people day in, day out in the area, and I respectfully suggest that the committee should distinguish between support for preserving the post office and support for granting an alcohol license. They are not the same thing. No financial evidence have been provided to demonstrate that post office or the existing convenience store cannot continue operating successfully without alcohol sales. Many post offices across the country operate perfectly successfully without selling alcohol. The previous owners of the post office have done so for about 30 years. Throughout that period, they have not sought to sell alcohol or tobacco or vapes or any other products in that category. The application therefore asks the committee to accept that alcohol sales are required without providing evidence to support that conclusion. Turning to the application itself, I also have concerns that the operating schedule is largely generic. Many of the proposed conditions are standard conditions which would apply almost anywhere. There is very little that specifically addresses the particular characteristics of this location. Broadways is not a town centre with a nighttime economy. It's a residential area en route to a nature reserve, which is actually under a protection order from crime and antisocial behaviour. Generally, during summer months especially, the area experiences seasonal tourism, heavy pedestrian use by families, older residents, and throughout the day. I would therefore have expected a much more location-specific assessment explaining how alcohol sales will be managed in this unique environment. Instead, the application largely relies upon standard wording. The Licensing Act requires applicants not simply to avoid undermining the licensing objectives, but positively promote them. I think that's the main part of my argument. Yeah, and I don't want to repeat what I've said in my application because there are very detailed points on there. But without repeating too much, I'll wrap it up with what I've got to say here. So I think, you know, this application may appear relatively modest. However, for many local residents, it represents something much more significant. It's not, the parade is not a collection of shops. It is an important part of the local community. The parade has traditionally provided everyday service and have retained the character that many residents value highly. The premises concerned currently operates as a post office, news agent, and beach goods retailer. It is regularly used by families, children purchasing magazines, sweets, residents collecting parcels, and all the members using the postal services. It is viewed as a community facility rather than alcohol-led premises. Many residents are concerned that introducing alcohol sale would fundamentally change the nature of that business and contribute to a gradual shift in the character of the parade itself. I think that residents are particularly concerned because the premises is already closely associated with children and families. The parade lies en route to local schools and forms part of the daily routine for many young people and parents. For many years, the premises has
I'm sorry
operated.
to interrupt. You're repeating what's written already. So,
Okay. Yeah, I think I've said what I wanted to say in general. Yeah, that'll be it from me then.
Thank you very much indeed. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. So you mentioned about petitions signed by the local residents. Did you organize it yourself in the shop?
I was entrusted by the public because a lot of people were frustrated about what was being proposed, and I was entrusted by members of the public to start it and being a point of contact where people can come in and sign it. So yes, we did do the petition, and we've also encouraged local residents to make a representation if they felt like this would be detrimental to the area.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, the microphone.
I've had a little bit to say. It was on the third page, which I've missed out, but this will
You will have a chance to sum up at the end.
Oh, okay, sure.
In fact, we're coming to the summing up now, and
Quick questions.
you do right. So, Councillor Keddy has a quick question before we sum up.
There was mention of is there a public? Do we know if there's a public? It's actually quite broad. I think it came up in both reps that there is an existing condition around antisocial behaviour on Hengistbury Head itself. Is that in the form of a public space protection order? Do we know?
Yes. Councillor, I can answer that. So,
Thank you.
so there is a alcohol public spaces protection order that covers most wards of the borough, apart from a couple on the periphery. So that area would be covered by the alcohol PSPO. But there's also an open spaces and a seafront PSPO, for want of a better word, dealing with noise, barbecues, stuff like that.
So nothing specific for Hangishbury Head. This is part of the general.
Yeah, so the alcohol one is general, and then there's specific ones for seafront services and open spaces. And it's my understanding that Hengetsbury Head is covered within those all of those PSPOs.
And that takes in the golf course as well.
I can't remember off the top of my
But
head,
it is
but
an
I
open- it's an
presume
open
it
space.
does cover that open space. Yes.
Because that leads onto the Broadway.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So now we'll come to summing up, and the last person to speak will go first. So you have the opportunity to sum up. I'll then come to the two councillors.
Okay. So in my respectful submission, this application has not demonstrated how introducing alcohol sales actively promotes the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, or the protection of children from harm beyond general assurances, which is what the applicant could only provide today. Finally, I ask the committee to remember that today's decision is not about whether the applicant is a good person or whether the business should succeed. It is about whether this particular application has demonstrated that granting this license is appropriate for this location and whether the licensing objectives would genuinely be promoted. I respectfully submit that it is not. For those reasons, I ask the committee to refuse the application.
Thank you, councillor.
Thank you. Thank you. From everything that's been said here today, and this gentleman, current license holder on the Broadway, has made a lot of very interesting points, and I agree with a lot of what he said about the nature of the area. And as I see it, it's a delicate balance between making the new business viable in this location, and preserving the area and the peace and quiet for residents. We know that business models have changed over the years, and post offices are now doing an awful lot more than they did in the past. So it is a tricky decision, and I'm glad I personally don't have to make it, and that it's over to the committee now to do what the right thing, and you have the difficult decision to make. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Rogers, do you have any? No, thank you. And finally, would you like to sum up?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, the application is being made with, I would say, robust conditions as part of the applications to promote the full licensing objectives. As you know, every application is reviewed by all the responsible authorities, and none of them raised any concerns. So I'm sure we fly on that. And coming back to the objection here, so we have one of the business objections here, but it seems like he himself mentioned about encouraging residents to put in objections, and the petitions is also organized by them. So we consider there could be a business element to it, but that's not what we are here for. We are looking at promoting the full licensing objectives. Firstly, whether granting the license for these premises is going to impact the full licensing objectives. But right now, all the things is mentioned. If there are any litter problems, like councillor mentions, they're doing some litter pickup and things like that. But none of them is caused by this particular premises, hasn't been started operating, so we can't really do that. But it is about whether they're going to increase. There's no evidence as well. So anything like that, whether this premises is going to any future issues in the licensing act and the licensing procedures, there are procedures to be done. It can be made complaint in the future to the authorities. It can be dealt with in the process of even reviewing the license as well. So we think we don't see so far any reasons why premises opening hours is 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., which is mostly covered by the planning. And then when we come to the licensing, whether granting the license between those hours similar, we don't think there's no other reason we can't find as an evidence to not to have that. But also we talk about the Tesco, and the councillor mentions it's about 15 minutes walk. I mean, that's not too far, but on the other hand, Chair, I think also the area is similar situations. So yeah, I think that's all we'd like to say. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you everybody for participating.
Sorry, Chair. Judgment's with hands raised.
I just want to say one point before.
Your mic, please.
So I want to make one point before I leave it down to you guys. So it's been mentioned that the police has not raised any objections to what has happened. But in my original representation, I did actually mention that it was in the Bournemouth Echo actually, that on 29th of May, in our area, the local school kids that I would serve, who goes to the local schools, there was a large group of local school people who were planning to meet and consume beach at the or consume alcohol at the nearby beach. Dorset police officers said that officers are concerned that large gatherings involving alcohol can quickly escalate into antisocial behaviour or more serious criminal activity, not just underage drinking. And from what I make of the applicants' responses today, it seems just about satisfactory, and that they think it's all going to be roses. There won't be any negative impact on the area. But I think it should be very clear that it's a residential area en route to the beach.
I think we've got the gist.
Yeah.
The police have raised no objections, so that has to stand as it is. Thank
I
you
wanted to
for
put it on record.
participating. Yeah, I'm going to close the meeting and we'll deliberate in private with our legal advisor and clerk. But before we do, the legal advisor has a note to read.
Thank you, Chair. So the members will deliberate and come to their decision, and you'll be notified of the decision within 5 working days. But also, just to let you know that if members decide to refuse the application or attach conditions to the licence, which either the applicant or any other person who made a representation does not agree with, that person may appeal to the Magistrates' Court within a period of 21 days from the date that the applicant is notified in writing of the decision.
Thank you. I'll declare the meeting closed. Welcome back to the licensing subcommittee. I'd like to introduce the panel, if I may. I'm Councillor Lawrence Williams, and I'm the elected chair for today.
I am Councillor Alistair Kenny, and I'm a member of the subcommittee today.
I'm Councillor Dwayne Farr, a member of the subcommittee today. Thank you.
And for the council,
I'm Joanne McNamara and I'm legal advisor to the subcommittee today.
I'm Michelle Cutler and I'm the clerk today.
Christiane Tan, Democratic Services, observing for training purposes.
Sarah Rogers, Principal Licensing Officer.
And Anne Randall, I'm Licensing and Training Standards Manager.
and for the applicant.
Immigration Officer Smythe for the Home Office.
Thank you.
Yeah, Immigration Officer Morgan, I'm here in a purely observational capacity for Home Office.
Thank you. And on behalf of the premises.
Mr. James Andrews representing Mr. Khalil.
Thank you. Before I run through the procedure, can I check that all persons that are given notice of their intention to speak have been identified, and any person who wishes to withdraw a representation or wishes not to speak has also been identified. Okay. As there are no comments, I'll take that as correct. I'll now explain the proposed procedure and order of speaking for the hearing as follows. The licensing officer will present their report. There'll be questions of the licensing officer by all parties, members of the subcommittee to go first. Applicants will make their application and questions of the applicant by all parties, members of the subcommittee to go first. The premises will then make their representations and questions of the person representing the premises by all parties of the subcommittee to go first. All parties were then given the opportunity to sum up, with the party who spoke last to go first. The hearing will then conclude. The subcommittee will deliberate in private with a legal advisor and clerk present. Notification of the subcommittee's decision will be given within the period of 5 working days, beginning with the day or the last day on which the hearing was held. The notification of decision will include information about the right of appeal as appropriate. And now ask all parties to confirm agreement on the proposed procedure or make representations. Do you agree?
Yes,
Thank
Chair,
you.
I agree.
Yes, I agree.
Mr. Andrews?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Mrs. Rogers? Thank you. And Mrs. McNamara?
Yes, Chair, thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I remind all parties speaking not to repeat the information which they've already given in writing, but to expand on their written representations. All questions are to be asked through the chair, and there will be no cross-examination of parties. I now ask the licensing officer to present the report.
Thank you. An application has been submitted by Home Office Immigration Enforcement to review the premises licence under Section 51 of the Licensing Act. The review follows a visit by Immigration Enforcement on the 13th of June 25, where 4 individuals were found to be working at the premises, one of which having no right to work. Under the Licensing Act, the Home Office, on behalf of the Secretary of State, is authorised to enter licensed premises where there is reasonable suspicion of offences under the Immigration Act in connection with licensable activities. The Home Office is also a designated responsible authority under the Act. No representations have been received in support of the application to review the licence from any other responsible authority or any other person. For information, at approximately 3:15 yesterday afternoon, an application to vary the DPS and transfer the licence into the name of a Mr. Karzan Omar Ali was made to have immediate effect, and that application is currently being processed. Members are reminded that any decision must be appropriate and proportionate, aimed at promoting the licensing objective and specifically addressing the concerns raised in the application once substantiated during this hearing. Thank you.
Members, do you have any questions for the licensing officer?
Not at this time.
No. Okay.
Sorry, yes, I do. I just want to clarify, is it WOC 4 go or WOC 2 goes? I've seen both names being used. I just wanted to confirm that. Okay.
Oh, can I just ask, you referred to an application for a new DPS. Can you just tell the licensing subcommittee the process for that and how that may come about?
Yes, so the application has come through for the licence holder to be transferred into the name of Mr. Karzan Omar Ali, and he is also proposed to be the new designated premises supervisor. So both applications came in yesterday afternoon, late yesterday afternoon, which was made on behalf of Set Square, and they have asked for them to have immediate effect. So subject to any objection coming from the police, who are the only people that can object to a transfer and vary DPS, the application is deemed granted.
What relation to the applicant is?
That information isn't within the application, but a good question to ask.
Sorry to ask. So, is there a time frame for the police to lodge any objection?
I think it's 14 days.
Right. Okay. And have the police been notified already?
They are served at the same time. Yes.
Right. Okay. But to date, there's been no objection.
Not yet. No.
May I explain the question that the panel member asked, the difference between WOC 2 go and WOC 4 go? From an immigration perspective, WOC 4 go is the premises, WOC 2 go is the name that's on the licence. So for our review, it's against the licence holder, and the licence is held in the name of WOC 2 go, but the premises is named WOC 4 go. However, the amount of businesses there are that Mr. Khalil has with the variation on a theme of the same sort of name, it does get a bit convoluted because I had to try and unpick it all on Companies House, but that is the basis that the Home Office are presenting their case. So licence is in the name of WOC 2 go, premises is in the name of WOC 4 go, the licence holder for WOC 2 go is Mr. Khalil.
Okay, thank you.
Not at all, you're welcome.
Are there any legal, Mrs. McNamara?
No, thank you.
No legal implications to this.
No, you're concerned with the licence today, and it's not unusual for a licence to be in one name and the business identified as another name.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for clearing that up. Officer Smythe, would you like to make your presentation?
Thank you, Chair. So first off, I'd like to just confirm that all the committee have had access to the application pack and have read through it. I'm happy to make a statement of the case and then read through everything else that I've got if the panel are happy. I've also been given evidence from a police officer in the form of a statement that I would like to also read if the panel are happy to hear that.
Yeah. I think
Will that count as a representation from the police?
Sorry, can I just clarify? So the members have got all the papers that you provided and an additional statement provided by the police on Friday.
Yes.
So obviously your application shouldn't be repeating what you've put in representation. So long as it's different. What I didn't want you to do was repeat what's there and sort of waste your time when with the members already got it. Yeah, thank you.
Not a problem. You're welcome.
Please,
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Lovely. So first off, I will start with the statement of the Home Office's case. So the business has objected on the grounds that they are not liable for a civil penalty for the employment of Tiago Bazzanella. They have raised the following points which will be addressed individually. Tiago Bazzanella has never been employed by the business, is one objection that was raised. During the interview, the officials, which was us, was asked of Tiago Bazzanella how long he'd been helping at WOC 4 Go, to which he replied since April the 24th into all 2024. He further stated that he would normally go and buy shopping for the restaurant and received approximately £500 a month. He stated he was at the premises 3 to 4 times per week. The evidence we hold shows Mr. Tiago Bazzanella was transferred approximately £500 per month since May 2024 for performing his duties carried out for the business. Another point of objection raised by the business was that his presence was personal and not professional. Tiago Batzanella's presence at the business.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but can you
Sorry.
refer to the
Persons.
what you're calling the employee just by
Person
Mr. X
employee.
or
Yeah,
person
okay.
or something rather than
So the employee's presence at the business 3 to 4 times per week, and his statements confirm that he's been receiving money for duties he carried out, and this would be considered as professional work related duties and not personal, as was stated. They stated that no wages were paid and there were only personal transfers. The business stated the money transferred to the employee or the worker was personal and not remuneration for work at the premises. The money transferred to this worker was made from the business account of Walk4Go and not the personal account. During his interview, the worker stated he received £500 in his bank monthly and confirmed he received money in exchange for helping at other businesses, or at the business, pardon. The director, in her interview with immigration, stated that she sent the employee or the worker money to help with collecting additional produce for the shop and gave this man money to compensate for help. It's also noted that the business, that the interviewee signed the official's notebook to confirm that he was content that the questions that he had answered and the answers he were given were correct. And also he did so in English, although an interpreter is offered as standard to anybody that immigration encounters where English is not their first language. It's noted that the employee signed the official's notebook to confirm he was content with the questions and answers given, and the Home Office do not accept that the statements taken by the immigration officers were incorrect or fabricated. There was no obligation to carry out right-to-work checks, which was another objection raised by the business. The employer's presence at this business on 3 to 4 times per week and the money transferred to his account for duties is working. The evidence we hold shows that this employee's presence at the business was not merely a one-off, but was a regular occurrence and therefore classed as employment, even though it was on an informal basis and he did not have that permission to undertake such work. Employment is defined in Section 25B of the Immigration, Asylum and Nationalities Act 2006 as employment under a contract of service or apprenticeship, whether express or implied, and whether oral or written. The evidence we hold demonstrates that this employee was working at the premises fulfilling a role that a salaried worker would normally fulfill. We are satisfied that he was employed by you or by the business under a contract of service as defined in this Act. The business also stated they'd always complied with the law, and we acknowledged that the commitment to following employment laws was attempted by the business. However, in the event of this particular worker, they did not carry out any of the requisite right to work checks. And following consideration of the objections that they raised, it was deemed that the civil penalty would be upheld. The ability to work illegally in the United Kingdom is a key driver of illegal immigration, and it encourages people to break the UK's immigration laws and also provides immigrants practical means to remain unlawfully in the United Kingdom. It encourages people to abuse legal visa routes and also encourages others to take risks in trying to enter the United Kingdom illegally by putting their lives in the hands of unscrupulous people smugglers and leaves them vulnerable to exploitative employers. We regularly see people employed well below minimum wage as a result. Illegal working results in businesses that are not playing by the rules and undercutting legitimate businesses who are. It also negatively impacts the wages of lawful workers and can be linked to other labour market abuses such as tax evasion, a breach of national minimum wage and exploitative working conditions such as long hours for minimum wage or below minimum wage. Employing illegal workers undermines the licensing objectives, specifically the prevention of crime and disorder. Immigration enforcement do not just drive around looking for businesses to target. We are an intelligence-led organisation, and there must be significant concerns for us to even consider conducting an enforcement visit to a business premises. Immigration enforcement received allegations of illegal workers being employed at the premises and did so for this business. And as a result, we conducted a visit to the premises on the 13th of June 2025 and encountered one illegal worker. Details of the illegal worker are contained in the pack that I have provided. He was encountered in the kitchen area holding a food delivery bag and made a significant statement to the fact that he regularly assisted the business and during his illegal working interview admitted that he had been helping the premises since April 2024, attending 3 to 4 days per week. He stated he was paid regularly, around £500 per month, and higher payments on occasion. The worker confirmed that the manager he knew he did not have the right to work in the UK. He also confirmed that payments related directly to duties carried out to the business included shopping for stock and also supplies. Home Office records confirm that the worker entered the United Kingdom as an EU visitor in September 2023 and has never held the permission to work in the UK. Right to work checks are required to be conducted by all employers. These checks are free and simple to conduct and take just a few moments to complete. Even basic checks, had they conducted them, would have shown that his employment at this premises was not permitted. Under Section 15 of the Immigration, Asylum and Nationalities Act 2006, employers may face a civil penalty for employing illegal workers, and had the correct checks been completed, the illegal employment could have been avoided in this instance. As these were ignored, a civil penalty for £45,000 was issued to What For Go Lansdowne Limited. The company objected to the civil penalty. The case was considered, and on the 17th of July 2025, it was decided to maintain the penalty at £45,000. No payment has been made towards this civil penalty, and it remains outstanding in full, and therefore it has been referred to a collection agency. In addition to the illegal working, several licensing breaches were also found. These included no operational CCTV, no refusals log, no DPS or personal licence holder present, no staff training, and alcohol appeared to be available for consumption on premises where the licence actually stipulates it must be consumed off premises. The Section 182 guidance states that immigration offences are particularly serious and revocation may be justified even for a first offence. We recognise our role is to present those concerns to the Licensing Committee, who act on behalf of the local residents. The Home Office does not wish to be involved in unnecessarily restricting businesses and genuine community services such as successful pubs, restaurants or shops. However, there are concerns over the way that this business is being run, as discussed and also as shown in the contents of your pack. There needs to be some remedy for this behaviour and a significant way of ensuring that it will not be repeated. This should also serve as a clear message to other businesses in the area who are fully compliant with relevant legislation that satisfactory action is being taken. Ultimately, we have evidenced illegal working at the premises in addition to multiple breaches of licensing conditions, and the business has failed to uphold the prevention of crime and disorder licensing objective. Therefore, in line with the guidance, we feel the licence should be revoked. I have a statement here from Dorset Police, and I'll read through it as quickly as I can, and I'll try and paraphrase as much as possible because I'm aware that we're a bit short on time. So this is on behalf of Officer 8686 Rosales from Dorset Constabulary. She is the Dorset Police Licensing Officer for the area. And her role for responsibility is overseeing licensed premises within the Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole areas to ensure that licensed premises are upholding the licensing objectives. She made the statement on the 28th of May 2026. She visited the premises at 13 Holdenhurst Road as part of the Bournemouth Day of Action initiative, a multi-agency operation involving officers and representatives from neighbourhood policing, antisocial behaviour team, Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole and other agencies. And the purpose of it was to engage with businesses in the area and local licensing premises to address and reduce antisocial behaviour. Upon entering the premises, there appeared to be nobody present behind the counter. There was no member of staff immediately visible. and she introduced herself to a male seated by the door because they initially believed him to be a member of staff because of the way that he introduced himself to them, but he turned out not to be. When asked whether he worked at the premises, he said no, and they asked where the person was behind the counter and said, oh, he's just popped out and would return, but there was a bit of a language barrier, so the conversation couldn't really be continued at a significant level. So they waited to see when the person behind the counter would return. After several minutes had elapsed, she became increasingly concerned that the premises had been left unattended and that customers had remained inside during this time. The premises has an open kitchen layout and it's readily accessible from the customer side, and there's a small counter and a till separating the members of the public from the kitchen. The Lansdowne area is a known hotspot area for crime and antisocial behaviour, and the absence of any responsible member of staff created an unacceptable risk. During this period, the members of the public could potentially have accessed the till area, kitchen, obtained knives, alcohol, etc. Leaving the premises unattended in these circumstances represented a significant failure to adequately promote the licensing objective of public safety. Eventually, the chef returned to the premises and he greeted and embraced the male that they had spoken to earlier, and then he left. Introductions were then made between Officer Rosales and the chef, and she explained why they were there, and he said he was the only member of staff working that day. She asked that gentleman why he'd left the premises unattended, and he explained that he'd gone out to obtain supplies, and she outlined the concerns arising from his actions. However, he did not appear to appreciate the seriousness of the situation or the potential risks created by leaving customers in an operational food premises without staff supervision. When asked how long he'd been gone, he stated it was only a few moments. I advised him that we had been waiting in excess of 7 minutes and asked if he could access CCTV so that the exact duration of his absence could be ascertained. He informed Officer Rosales he didn't have access to the CCTV system. It's deeply concerning and disappointing that a licensed premises would fail to uphold the licensing objective of public safety in such a manner, and the events that I witnessed during this visit demonstrated poor management, inadequate supervision, a failure to uphold the licensing objectives, in addition to a failure to recognise and mitigate obvious risks to customers and the wider public. And it is for these reasons, and based upon my direct observations during the visit on 28th of May 2026, that Dorset Police fully support the application for review of the premises licence submitted by the Home Office, and would propose that revocation of the premises licence is the only appropriate and proportionate outcome in this instance. Thank you, panel.
Thank you very much indeed. Colleagues, do you have any questions?
No.
Can I ask a question first? What's the status of the employee currently? Are they still in the country? Are they working? Or are you not allowed to tell me?
I don't know if he's back in the country. I know that he left after our visit and then came straight back in. So I'm not sure if he's back in the country or not. It's something obviously the Home Office would have to look into, but I do know that he left shortly after the visit that we conducted and then came straight back in again.
Very helpful, thank you. Mrs. McNamara.
Thank you, Chair. You made reference to the employer, you're calling them, making representations after the visits and representations in relation to the penalty notice. Can I check? So when you carried out the visit, the person that your report says that the person you were engaging with was a Laura Allen. Is that correct? Yeah. So it's noted that the premises licence was held or currently held by a Rusty Khalil, who was also the DPS at the time. Have you had any contact with that person?
I think, if you memory, so I wasn't here. I think this visit.
Yeah, no, please.
I'm not sure. I think as our civil penalties team will make contact with the licence holder and also business. If there's no reference to it in the pack, I don't think we've got a response. We did get a response from someone, but I honestly don't know who it is.
Okay.
So it just says that an objection was received to the penalty, so I'm not sure if they got to speak to the licence. No. She was there as the company director, but I'm not sure if anybody actually spoke to the licence holder.
No, that's okay.
You normally speak to whoever it is that's in charge.
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering if subsequent to the visit, if you knew there'd been any communication from the DPS or the licence holder.
Not to us directly, they may have been to our civil penalties team, but I wouldn't be privy to that information, because once we conduct the visit, we put our report together, we send it to our civil penalties team, they then make their investigations. So it may well be that they attempted to contact the licence holder, or the objections that we received came from the licence holder rather than the company
No,
director.
thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Right, we've no questions from us. Mrs. Rogers, do you have any questions? No. And no questions over there. Okay. Mr. Andrews, do you want to make? Okay. Before you do, can you just explain what your position regarding the applicant is?
Yeah, so
Sorry,
hi, I'm James Andrews. My position regarding the applicant is I was told about this situation the previous, and it was not understood the severity exactly that this was going to hearing, and that he was going to lose the license. So there's a new operation which will be taking over the premises and be responsible for its functioning. And it was assumed that whilst Mr. Kalel would be struck off as DPS, it wasn't understood that the license would be lost, and therefore I'm here to try and maintain the license. Yes.
Okay. Are you an agent or?
Yes, yeah, just an agent.
Yeah, who are you acting on behalf of? Is it the new DPS or the old one?
The old DPS today.
Do you want to make your presentation?
So, good afternoon, Chair and members of the subcommittee. My name is James Andrews, and I appear as agent representing Mr. Rasti Khalil. Firstly, I'd like to say that I do not contest the seriousness of the matters that gave rise to this review, and I do not seek to defend them. I'm here to put forward concrete steps to remove the most serious activity from the licence and place what remains under a named accountable person, and to invite the committee to determine the review by those steps rather than revocation. So firstly, we'd like to surrender the supply of alcohol. The supply of alcohol is offered up in full. The committee is invited to exclude the supply of alcohol from the licence under section 52(4)(b). The premises will operate as a food business under late night refreshment only. That removes the supply of alcohol entirely, and with it the alcohol related failings identified in the review, the requirement for a personal licence holder to authorise sales, the refusals register, age verification and the alcohol specific CCTV. The display of alcohol for on-site consumption that concerned the officers cannot recur because there will be no alcohol authorisation at all. So secondly, with the removal of the DPS, the committee is invited to remove the existing designated premises supervisor under section 52(4)(c). Once alcohol is excluded, the licence requires no DPS, so that the committee nonetheless has a competent, named and accountable person responsible for compliance at the premises. The holder offers a condition that Mr. Karzan Omar Ali, who holds a personal licence, an SIS card and has a proven track record of compliance, is the named person responsible for licence and compliance at the premises, and a parallel application has been made. So we also propose conditions. Because the committee's concern is prevention of illegal working, as well as other issues which I've previously cited, the holder offers a binding condition directed precisely at that, which applies whatever else is decided. So primarily the what right to work. As has previously been stated, employers should identify their employees and they have adequate right to work. We would like to offer a documented what right to work check on every person before they begin any work at the premises. Records retained at the premises and produced to immigration enforcement, the police or the authority on request, and the register of all persons working at the premises available for inspection upon request. So secondly, an accountable person, Mr. Ali, is to be responsible for staff compliance, including the right to work checks above. CCTV. Working CCTV recording whilst the premises is open and retained for at least 31 days and produced to the police or the authority on request. Records. An incident record maintained in English and produced upon request. So with this, I'd like to explain that with a new operator at the premises, the actual siting of it is in a late night economy, and that without the late night refreshment, this business is not sustainable, and that it will inevitably lead to another empty shop. The previous issues were with the previous operator. This is a new operation and will ensure compliance. Yes, that's all.
Before my colleagues ask a question, can you tell me what relationship the proposed new license holder is to the old one?
So the proposed new license holder is a completely separate operation. They are known to each other. However, we will be financially and legally independent of the previous operation.
How are they known to each other?
Friends.
Okay.
So, forgive me, I'm just taking a moment to unpick some of the relationships here because it's not necessarily straightforward. You're saying that the new DPS and the former DPS are known to each other as friends and that there's no further connection than that? A quick look on Companies House shows a company called Greek Cafe Limited, and they share directorship of that company, and that would lead me to think that there's more than friendship, there's active business partnership existing between these two. Can you expand on that at all?
That was not to my knowledge.
Any questions? No.
Just a question to the licensing officer. Obviously, the business has suggested they're want to surrender the alcohol license element of the license. So it's my understanding what's then left is the late night refreshments. Can you just explain the correlation between that and the DPS element that they referring to?
So if the alcohol is being surrendered, there'd be no requirement for a DPS. Therefore, the license would just authorise late night refreshment under the premises license holder.
And what form does that take? The late night refreshments?
It's providing hot food or drink between the hours of 11 and 5 a.m.
Non-alcoholic drink?
No alcohol drinks.
Okay, thank you.
But you do lose that designated premises supervisor responsible role
in that area.
So again, sorry, just to clarify, so the application that was received yesterday was for a DPS to be transferred to, but we're saying if the alcohol's not needed, that drops away, but also the premises license to be transferred to Mr. Ali. Is that correct? Okay, thank you.
Would you like to ask any questions of the applicant? No. Okay. Do you have any questions? Yes, please do. Use your microphone.
I noticed that you said that Mr. Khalil has said that he's quite happy to withdraw his alcohol sales but continue with late night refreshment. that premises will still need a license to serve late night refreshment, given the concerns that we've got around the fact that he's failed to uphold the licensing objectives. The removal of alcohol is just one aspect of licensing. So what is it that he is proposing to do that's different to enable him to demonstrate that he can uphold the licensing objectives? He's got 10 businesses registered on Companies House, some of them since 2013, 5 of them are licensed. So if he's not been doing it for that long, why all of a sudden and how is he going to make any difference and make any changes?
Mr. Cleal is not proposed to make these changes. It is Mr. Karzan O'Malley.
The other one. Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to look further into the relationship with the new and old owner. What's happening? Is he buying the premises? Is he buying the business?
I believe he's taking over the business, as previously stated. Mr. Cleal has a number of different businesses. He
Yes,
would
but
not,
is he buying the business or is he being handed the business?
that's not to my knowledge.
Okay.
But he, yeah.
No further questions from anybody. So we'll go. Feel free.
So we've established that there is potentially a business relationship already between the new proposed license holder and the old one. And again, if they're in the same business and they've already got one, it concerns me as a Home Office official that they are not conducting the right to work checks in that business either. So if they're both the director of one business and he's not doing the right to work checks, what confidence and what can you say or what can you tell me that means that this business is going to comply if one of the directors, where they're one business where they're already joint directors, is potentially not doing it because he's not done it? Do you see what I mean? Thank you.
So I'd just like to be clear. Is it proposed that the Greek Cafe isn't operating and making these right to work checks? I understand the tie of both of them, or is it just this single operation which is non-compliant and therefore is proposed to change the operator? I propose that this new operator, being a part of the other business, will be compliant.
As agent, and you're, I'm so sorry. Is that all right?
It's starting to sound like an interrogation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It should go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was going to say, if there is a right to work check, do they actually know how to do them? Is that something that they would need help? Because we do, when we went out to business last time, we did explain how to do the right to work checks.
Can you answer that, Mr. Andrews?
Yeah, I believe that was asked to Mr. Khalil, and the new operator, Mr. Omar Ali. He will be educated and happy to provide all the information upon request.
So when was the decision made for the transfer of business?
I believe the transfer of the business started around May, when which is just, sorry, if I just put dates. I believe it was after the original issues with the Home Office, and it was decided that it wasn't appropriate for them to continue operating. That's the start of the changes, and now it's been realised the extent that needs to go on, and that it's not operational in the future for Mr. Clow or Miss Laura Allen. But they won't be a part of the business in the future.
Okay.
Just a quick note. I read the Companies House article quite quickly. It seems to indicate that Karzan Omar Ali and Hasti Khalil were directors of Greek Cafe Limited, but it looks like they both resigned. However, it does indicate a business partner relationship in the past, just in view of transparency.
Yeah, thank you. I think, yes, please come in.
Oh, sorry, just for clarity, was that a Rasti Khalil or a Hasti Khalil?
Hasti.
Hasti's his brother. That's not Rasti.
Nevertheless, there's a close relationship.
I understand. Just for
Okay,
transparency.
interesting. Still unpicking this as we go, actually.
Right, so I think we can probably sum up at this stage. So the last person speaking is the first person to sum up. If you can sum up without repeating what you've already said, Mr. Andrews, I'd be grateful.
So thank you for hearing me today. I'd just like to pose a potential further step that could be taken is the suspension of the license for a period of time upon which we can provide the satisfactory documentation to prove that this is a completely separate operation. This is last minute, like the transfer and such, and it was never intended to be that way. And we'd like to be given the time to rectify this into a completely separate entity and provide the adequate documentation to prove so.
Would you like to sum up again without repeating?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, all the evidence that we've presented today, I think we would still look to revoke the licence. There is still the aspect of not only the illegal worker that was found at the premises, but also what the police licensing officer found in May when the proposed transfer was apparently started. So I do still think that revocation in this case would be the Home Office's stance. Thank you.
Mrs. Rogers, anything to add? No. Okay. I'll now close the meeting. The panel will now meet and come to a decision. Would you like to do the legal bit, please?
So a decision will be made within 5 working days, notification in writing, and then there is an appeal process in relation to that, and that's the appeal to the Magistrates Court within 21 days. Thank you.
So the meeting's closed at 1:45. Thank you. Welcome back to the Licensing Subcommittee. I'd like now to read the exclusion of public and press. In relation to the items of business appearing below, the subcommittee is asked to consider the following resolution: that under section 100A brackets 4 of the Local Government Act 1972, the public be excluded from the meeting for the following items of business, on the grounds that they involve the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraph 1 and 2 in part 1 of Schedule 12A of the Act, and that the public interest in withholding the information outweighs such interest in disclosing the information. The live stream will now end, and everything that is said will remain private and confidential.
Thank you, Chair.